and welcome to the MOLLY MAID podcast. I am so excited to welcome Sarah Brinkman, a franchise partner from Grande Prairie, who has been with MOLLY MAID for the past 5 years. Welcome, Sarah.
Hello.
Today, we're going to talk a little bit about your leadership journey. So do you think you could start us off by providing some insights into how you've developed as a leader?
Sure thing. It all started with considering myself never to be a leader. I've always considered myself a follower, right up until this experience. Honestly, when we first got on board, I had mentioned to Aaron that I would probably join the Army before I would run my own business. Because in the Army, they just tell you what you do and you do it. When you're the boss, you make all the calls. And that was 110% out of my comfort zone.
Right. So that's pretty cool. That's an amazing story, that you've already gone so far on your leadership journey that you have that confidence to, no longer feel that way, right? So can you provide us with an example of how you've developed as a leader?
Yeah, so there's a few areas. The biggest one for me is confrontation. I am horrible with confrontation. To be honest, there's moments where I would cry from confrontation in this position, but whatever, you get over it and you learn from it. And I have finally achieved one of my biggest goals in being a good leader, and that was actually terminating people. I have a big heart and I have a hard time doing it. And I mean, I've learned a lot in terms of how to address that. And I guess kind of turn it into a positive experience more so than a negative experience, even though when you're leaving, it's never a good thing. But actually, Helena taught me one important matter about something like that is, we could be holding them back from something that they're meant to be in, right? It might not be the industry for them. And kind of expressing that when you're in that kind of position. So it made doing that 10 times easier, and they tend to leave on way better notes than on a negative note, being that they're terminating. Instead of terminating, they're moving on to bigger, better adventures in their life. And I'll help where I can, but that was a big goal, and I achieved it this past year.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. I think,
terminating on my own. Normally, Helena helped walk me through the process.
Helena is your business partner, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I have to say, I don't think anyone really loves confrontation. So congratulations. That is awesome. Definitely that would be something that would be, I think, a bit of a fear for everyone, having to do.
Nobody wants to be the bad guy.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So now what are some of the qualities that you feel you have as a leader?
Well, I'm a pretty good listener, I like to think. One of the big ones that my staff appreciate is kind of an open door policy. They're free to ask me anything. Like, there's no stupid questions in our business. Even if they're unsure, their first reaction is to call me, and I walk them through. I explain it, and they're like, oh, okay. Sorry to bother you. No, it's, a learning process. I care about what goes on with them. We understand that, they have personal lives, they have kids, they have, bills, they have appointments, and we do our best to work with that, being that we can sometimes have that flexibility. So it creates a helping each other out kind of situation. When I need help, they kind of go the extra mile. And when they need help, I go the extra mile. So we have that sort of helping each other out relationship. And it goes a long way, especially when you get in those crunch times where you're like, oh God, what should I do?
No, absolutely. That is awesome. Now, I know, we'd had some discussion earlier, and you had mentioned one thing about really empowering some of your team members and ways that you have, developed as a leader to empower and inspire your team members. Could you share with us a little bit about that and an example of that you shared with me earlier? Because it really is quite cool.
Yeah.
Good story.
So one big thing we do in our workplace, we do spend a lot of time working and communicating with our staff, mainly because when somebody comes into our comes through our door to work for us, essentially for whether it be week, 3 weeks, month, years on end, whatever it may be, they're always going to bring something that will benefit the business in some way, shape, or form. So that's our first impression of bringing new people in. It's new ideas. It's, new updates to how we do things. So everybody, regardless how long they're with us, brings something to the table. So what we work hard on is finding out what that special thing is that they bring to the table. So for some people, it's, personality. It's some people, they're really good cleaners. Some people are organized. Some people have a knack for teaching. Some people have a knack for like different niches, right? So we kind of pick those out in the people, and then we use that to kind of grow where we can grow, but more so, we encourage them to share that with the rest of the team. So when I have somebody that comes in here that thinks they're just coming in here to clean and that's all they're going to do, I'll find whatever they're fantastic at. Maybe they tell good jokes. I don't know. Maybe they give good hugs. Yeah. Whatever the case be. We say, you know what? That's a fabulous idea. You should really share that with your fellow employees or bring it up at our next staff meeting, because that's a fantastic idea. And if they don't, I'll still bring it up, because you can just feel how humble they are when they feel like what I've said. I wasn't sure if it was important, but I said it. And now Sarah is expressing it to the rest of the team as something that could be a potentially good idea. And it makes them feel important and valued. And I find just by doing that, they're more prone to giving feedback. Whether we use it or not doesn't really matter at that point. It's just making them feel comfortable and confident to share what they have to bring to the table. And then we utilize that. And then we encourage them to support each other and encourage each other and push each other. And so we're really just supporting each other rather than me feeling like I'm supporting all of them in their hard days and covering their butts. I've got a whole team base behind me that says, hey, I recognize you're really good at this. You should share that with your fellow team members, because I think some of them could use that. Right. Yeah. And then it empowers them to help each other. They love helping. They love knowing that they're noticed. One of our big examples of that was, I call her our success story. Her name's Huda. She's the only interview I actually remember her interview, because we do group interviews. But she tried so hard to stay involved in the interview process. And that spoke volumes to me. Like she may not have the best English, but she tried hard to get her voice heard in our interview. And that caught my eye. We brought her on. She was full-time, part-time, full-time. She kind of wherever I needed her, she went. Then I brought on an employee who she's 110% invested in the people she works with, the teams, the business. Like she was like a ultra version of what I feel I am. And I paired these two together, and this route manager poured everything into this assistant. And we actually got her behind the steering wheel at one point, which is unknown to her. And now she's off going to nursing school by herself in Edmonton, and she's living the strong, independent life. And we're That's so incredible. Happy for her. Yeah. And just to see the progress from that one person investing that time and energy into that other person, just that pair, to see what blossomed from there was so cool. Like it still gives me goosebumps. It was just so exciting to see somebody that thought this is all I can do. And then to be proven, I can do more. I can do that. I can drive if I want. I can do this. And now she's off doing her own thing, becoming her own independent person. And it's super exciting because, it's just to see her from then till now, it's so cool. We stay in contact with her and she's doing fantastic. So it makes all of the stresses of being the leader well worth it.
Yeah, that intrinsic value. I mean, that's amazing. What a cool story, Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you're going to have more as time goes on, because that is truly the definition of a leader is, really empowering the people that are working with you and for you, mm-hmm. but really bringing them up and doing the best you can. So that's incredible. So one other question I have, though, is as a leader, I know it's super busy and you've got all these people relying on you and all this stuff going on. How is it that you keep from burning out?
So one of the big ones, because we've been growing pretty fast, and I take pride on like how much I invest in my staff, and I don't want to take away from that, at least not yet. So it's really hard to balance those out, right? But when we launched our fourth car, we ended up getting a supervisor in the office. And what a lifesaver that was. And like I said, she was one of those people that came in here and had the same core values as me in terms of people, business, place. She actually taught me quite a bit, being in my position of 5 years, and she's fresh in here. She was teaching me things. So it was really cool. But having a supervisor just bounces ideas off of you, work one-on-one with you. I put her wherever. That really alleviated a lot of late nights, because if I had to dive in and clean, I was doing office in the evening. And then the other one for me is I do my weekends to myself if I can, because then it gives me something to look forward to in terms of taking that me time, because I've learned that's really, really important. When I was based out of my home, I didn't have me time because the office was at home, which is very common these days. Right. It's important to find that division, because I find I'm more productive when I have my me time. So when I have those weekends, I know there's some franchises out there that really value taking on what they can get when they can get it. And hey, that's a business plan they can venture forth. That's awesome. But for me, I need that me time. So I use my weekends for that.
It's good to re-energize and regroup and clear your head.
I found I'm actually more productive in my day-to-day. Like I'll work later into the evening over working a weekend if I can. Yeah. So then, like I said, I got that excitement of, there's, I'm going camping.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's amazing. Well, Sarah, it sounds like you really have developed over the years as a leader, and sounds like, you've done an amazing job, and it's going to be even more incredible to watch the successes you're going to continue to have. So I am excited to see that as time goes on. So thank you very much for your time today. We really appreciate it. And to all of our listeners out there as well, certainly becoming a Molly Maid franchisee can help you develop your skills as a leader as well. And if you are interested in becoming a Molly Maid franchisee, certainly you can reach out to me anytime, just through our website at www.mollymaid.ca. Again, thanks, Sarah, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.